This is a very important step in your foundation, because if your conversion events are not set up correctly and are not firing properly, then your ads will not be optimized. And what tends to happen there is you need to then, first of all, fix the conversion events, fix whatever technical problems you're having, and then you'll probably have to create fresh campaigns and basically start all over again. So conversion events tell Facebook, hey, Facebook, this is what it looks like when somebody enters their email address. And hey, this is what it looks like when somebody purchases this widget or purchases this service. And there is a longer list of events that Facebook actually follows. So I'm going to show you the simpler ways that I continue to use to this day to create conversion events and have them run properly, and so that I can properly also optimize my ads. It can get complex depending on the marketing tech stack that you have, but I'm going to show you the ways that I use it. And I use it with many different clients who have several different types of software and things like that. So I've just come up with a way that I find is the easiest. I like to keep things simple. I find that the simpler I make things, the less room there is for errors and things to break. And, you just don't need that to happen when you're running Facebook ads, because there's going to be enough problems, right? Just dealing with Facebook. So let's just try and reduce the number of problems as much as possible. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways. Let's jump into it. I'm going to show you a first way where you basically don't need any coding. So let me jump back into the Ads Manager. Okay, so I am now inside of the Events Manager. You may have been in your Ads Manager, or just go directly to business.facebook.com and find your little hamburger menu up here, these three horizontal lines. And then you want to go to Events Manager, which is in my shortcuts. Or if you don't see it in your shortcuts, you can just scroll down and it should be in this list here. Right now it's under Events Manager, is under Manage Business. So your page should look something like this. Again, as a reminder, your dashboard or page may look totally different from mine, depending on the user interface that Facebook is testing at the moment. But hopefully they hadn't changed the names of things too much. So what you want to do is, first of all, you want to make sure you're in the correct account and have selected the correct pixel. You can see the pixel number up here. You can see the pixel number over here as well. So I would look at that, and then I would pull open your landing pages and the pages in your funnel and use the pixel helper to make sure that the pixels match. If they don't match, this process that I'm going to show you is not going to work. So I'm going to want to find the button that says Add Events. And I have it down here, and I'm going to choose from the pixel. This is the easiest way to set something up. And you do not need to log into anything, or you do not need to know any coding for this. So I'm going to click Open Event Setup Tool. Now I'm going to put here an opt-in page to use as an example. So I'm going to click Open Website. You also want to make sure that your pop-up blocker is not stopping this from happening. And I'm actually logged in. You don't have to be, but I'm logged in. I can log out just to show you don't need to be logged in. Okay, now it actually says that there's an event already set up on this page. So I wanted to show this to you because if you make a mistake or you decide you don't need an event anymore, that's okay, because it's really easy to fix. You just have to click the trash button here and it's gone. So you don't have to worry about being perfect on this page or making a mistake, because you can always delete it when you're doing all the setups. And you can even click all events just to see if there's other events. This is, I'm showing you this from brand new. So let's pretend that, and this offer is no longer available. I'm just using this as an example. Let's pretend that I had a form here and that this was the button I wanted people to click on to submit the form. So what you would do is you would click Track New Button. And you can see here it says click on the highlighted button to set up your event. So it's trying to find buttons and links right on your page. So this one is highlighted here, which is good. So that means that I made a button that looks like a button, and I'm going to click on this here. And now it's asking me the event I'd like to track. So again, pretend there was a form here instead of my face on a video, and that it was a form and that this was the submit button. And I want to name it a lead. So you can choose whatever event best matches this. Remember, you want to make sure that you have this event mapped over to your verified domain too. So I already know that I've got a couple different ones. And you notice they have these at the top. I think it's because these are the ones that were mapped. So I'm going to choose lead. And I don't have a value that I want to attribute to it. So I'm just going to put do not include value. I can also add content ID and content type to help me further organize things. So I can do choose content ID on the page, for example. So maybe it's this, the name of it. Maybe it's, you can choose another, something else on the page. I'm going to choose, let's see, I'm just going to choose the headline here. See, so I can say that's the content ID. The content type, this is clearly meant for like e-commerce, but I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to click confirm. Okay, so that just adds another layer of description to this actual event that you created. However, it is creating a lead. So I'll show you when we're setting up ads that you can actually just use the lead objective. You don't have to create a custom conversion specifically for this. You can just use lead because all we've done is add some specificity to the event, but it's still in the broad category of a lead. So this is really helpful because if I was setting this up in any other way, I would definitely need a developer to help me because I know a little bit of code, not a ton of code. So this is a really easy way to track buttons if you need to do that as tracking an event. I'm going to show you how to track a URL, but I'm going to use a different page for that. So I just wanted to show you how this one worked first. Now, when I'm done, I'm just going to click Finish Setup over here, and I'm going to click Finish, and I always just vote yes and tell them good things, right? There. So now that's all done and it's brought me back to this page here. So let's do another example where I'm doing the URL. So I'm going to go back to Add Events. I'm going to click from the pixel, and then I'm going to click Open Event Setup Tool. This time I want to actually put in the thank you page. So let me go grab a thank you page URL. Now I'm going to paste it in here and open the website again over here. So you can see this now popped up. This is the page that people end up on after they submit their email address. So I know that if somebody lands on this page, they filled out that form. So to me, they are a lead. And I want to track the actual page because all I have to do is know, hey, if anybody visits this page, they're a lead. Or I'm 99% sure they're a lead. So I'm going to click track a URL and see it's automatically put the URL inside of here. And I'm going to click select an event and I'm going to click lead. Now notice up here it says URL equals. I'm going to put contains because I like to use that just in case I am putting anything else after the URL and I really, really want to make sure that it gets tracked. Be careful though if you're using contains because you need to make sure that you don't have any subpages that would have this phrase in it, that because you don't want to have, for example, like 5 different subpages under here, and then if you did, they would all be categorized as leads. You want to be careful that you're not over reporting on your leads either. Okay, so just be careful with this. Again, I'm just showing with you what I tend to do, but just think about it in terms of whether you're going to choose equals or you're going to choose contains. So let's just leave it like this for now. I don't have a value, and then I'm just going to click confirm. So great, now this is also set up as a lead. So before we did track button and then we did track URL. And again, because I know anybody who's come to this page is 99% that they've filled out that form. Yes, they may have shared it with somebody, but really people don't tend to do that, I find in general. So there you go. Now I have other things on this page because the way this offer worked is you still have to take another step. So I have an affiliate link over here. So maybe what I want to do is I also want to track, or I want to be able to optimize maybe for people who not just only put in their email address, but they clicked on one of these links. Because this has an affiliate link behind it, I'm not able to track anything with Facebook after that because I don't own the URL and my pixel is not on that domain. But I can track who clicks on this button. So I could click track new button, and I'm going to click this button, claim your free copy. and let's do an event. So this might be, like I actually might even do initiate checkout for this, because what happens is this button actually goes to an order form for people to order the book. Or it used to. This offer is not live anymore, but it's my affiliate link that would then go to directly to an order form for people to order the book. And they already know coming in, if they've read everything, that for this offer, you have to buy the book, and then you have to come back here, let me know you bought the book, and then I'm going to give you bonuses. This is the best way that I found when I'm using, I'm promoting an affiliate offer, and I can't have my Pixel installed on their pages. So this is the best way for me to track everything and know what's happening. And I can choose to put a value. Let's just put a value, for example. I can do that, or I can just say don't include value. And I'm just going to leave don't include value. And I'm going to click confirm. And you can see here now it's set up here. Initiate checkout is button text is claim your free copy. And so this is all done. And I can just click finish setup, and I'm going to click finish. And like I said, if I found that I made a mistake, I can always go back and I can delete the events as well. So this is the easiest way of setting up your conversion events. That is the benefit of this. Okay. The downside of it is that you're stuck with the URL. So you notice how when we went to set this up, when I go here and I open up the event setup tool, it's asking me to put in the URL, right? And that the events are actually tied to the specific URL. Well, if I decide to test the page, like maybe I have a different thank you page, maybe I have free retargeting book unlocked 2, or I have something else called bonuses or something like that. Like I have a totally different URL, then I'm going to have to create another conversion event. I'm going to have to keep creating more and more conversion events every single time the URL changes. And that can be a problem because I might forget to do it. If you have a lot of different pages, you know what, and even if you have a few pages, it's something that's really easy to forget to do. So I would rather set up my conversion event once and not have to worry about it, or have less steps, I should say. So I'm going to show you two other ways of creating conversion events. So I'm just going to close this here. Now, another way is if you have the Conversions API set up, and that's where you integrate it with your software that you're using. So I'll just go over here, like you can manually implement it. But like I said, if you do that, you need to get a developer to help you, because it's a lot of different coding involved in order to have your server talk to Facebook server. I tend to use a partner integration. So like I said, there's WordPress, WooCommerce. You can also do it with Zapier, which is also really easy to do. So I would do it this way, use one of the use one of the partners here in order to set it up if you're doing conversions setup. And what I love about the conversion server setup is that it's already all done for you. Once you do it, and then if your system already knows, okay, this is what a lead looks like, then your server will automatically tell Facebook server and you're good. It's already automatically all set up and happening. So that's the second way of doing things. The benefit is that it's more reliable because it's a server talking directly to another server. We're not having to deal with any interruptions in the signal or anything like that. And like I said, it's just, I set it up, and as long as everything else is performing properly the way it should, then I'll see the leads come in, I'll be seeing the purchases come in, really not having any problems at all. So really, really easy. The downside of it is it does tend to need much more advanced technical help to set up and to troubleshoot if it's not working. So that's the downside. People are creating more and more ways to make this easier, though. I think as it becomes more of the norm, there's definitely been a lot other people who have set up integrations that are not even listed here. So definitely check with the software that you're using to see if they have something set up already to make it easy for you to connect server-side conversions to your Facebook pixel. Shopify is one that's done a really good job from the very beginning to make it really, really easy for us to create ads and just having it directly integrated with Shopify. So those are the pros and cons of that one. Let me show you what to do for the middle one, which is doing it from a new website. This third way of setting up your conversion events is, I think it's a little bit in the middle. You do need to know a little bit of code, but it is a lot easier than doing Conversions API. So the first thing we need to do is get the code. So here's a couple. So actually I have it written down and I will post it below as well in the description here so that you have it, because I always keep the little code snippets on the side so that I can as easily copy and paste from there. And I'll pull it up here in a moment. If you are interested in all the technicalities of it, you can read about it on Facebook for Developers, but it's just, even just scrolling through here, it's just way too complicated, I think. So I'll just show you what I'll show you the code snippets that I keep and they work fine. But if you do need to do a lot more advanced tracking for whatever reason, then you can have your developer take a look at this to help you create the codes that you need. So I keep these in a little notepad inside of my Evernote. And I have a couple, right? I have leads and checkouts. I have ones that I use all the time. Now, first of all, you have to have the base pixel installed. So we've already covered that. So I'm assuming that that is installed and everything is running well. The next thing you need to do is just get one of these little code snippets. And the one I'm using is okay, let's pick the purchase one. So purchase, and then you want to give it a content name. So this just gives you some categories. So the content category is sort of the bigger category. So maybe I am selling books. So I might call this book, and my content name might be Facebook. Well, no, I'm not going to call it Facebook ads. Let's call it book clients or something like that. Okay, so this would be the specific book, and this is my overall category of book. And maybe I put the value here is $5. And so this is my little code snippet here. And you can name these whatever you want. Just keep in mind, when I'm thinking of category, I might want at some point to create an audience of everybody who has converted with a purchase in the content category book, right? Or maybe you sell workshops. So this might be workshop, and this would be the specific name of the workshop. And by the way, you do not have to put a value if you don't want to. It can help with reading the reports in Facebook, but it's not necessary. You don't have to put a value in here at all. It's not, and also, by the way, when people show reports of, Facebook showing you made this much money, it's just because they put this value in for the conversion. It's not connected to their shopping cart in any event. It's literally just pulling the information from here. So if I said the value here was $5,000, then, and I'm getting purchases through Facebook, the Facebook ads manager will show me this total sales of, multiples of $5,000. It's not true. It's just that I put $5,000 in here. Okay. Obviously, is it going to help you if it's more accurate? Yes, because then you can rely on the reports better. But just letting you know, it's just purely based on data that you're putting in there. Because doing it this way, Facebook is not connected to my shopping cart. So I'm going to take this little snippet here. Okay. And what you need to do is you're going to need to put it on the page that people end up on after they purchase something. And a little tip before we go on is to make sure that you don't do anything to the code. You don't add any extra spaces or press enter or anything like that. What I do know about code is anything like even a space sometimes can cause an error. For example, I recently found a code where the Facebook pixel was yellow and I couldn't figure out why it wouldn't turn green. And when I went to take a look at the page that the information was pasted on, there was actually big empty spaces in between some of these. And as soon as we removed them and resaved it, it was all green. I don't know exactly what was wrong, but I know it fixed it. So I just copy and paste and you should be good. Even inside of here, I make sure that, these are single quotes and I don't even change these. All I'm doing is putting something in between here. And also when I put in the name, I don't use any symbols either. I'm clearly only using letters, again, just to make sure I'm not putting anything in here that might give errors when the code is installed. So I'm going to copy this. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to go to the page that people will end up on after they purchase. So I'm going to pull that up in WordPress, and then I'll also show you how I do it really quickly in Google Tag Manager. Now, there are many different ways of doing this depending on the software you're using, your setup. So I'm just going to show you a really easy way to do it. It's not the best way, the absolute top number one way to do it, but it'll get the job done. Okay. So for example, I have a page here. Let's just pretend this is the page people land on after they purchase. Okay. Let's just pretend that for a moment here. And it's Elementor. So again, see, even here, I might be throwing people off if they've never heard of Elementor inside of WordPress, right? But I'm just showing you what this would look like. And a lot of these drag and drops look similar. So what I would do is I would look for a widget that lets me put in code on the page. So I have one here. This is HTML. And I would just drag this to the top somewhere. You're not going to see anything because the code I'm putting in here doesn't add squares or like any graphic designs or text. And I'm just going to paste the code in here. Okay. And then I'm going to click update. And so what you should see is you should see the event show up after it updates. And let me open this up here. So let's preview page. Okay, so I have the page open here, and when I pull it down here, you can see that the pixel is installed, and you can see it has a page view, but you can see it has purchase, but it does have like this little yellow symbol. So that just means that I have something weird going on this page, and I have to figure out what it is. But you can see like it does work over here. So one moment. Okay, I believe I fixed it, and you can see I actually also went into the back end here to test it and a couple of different times, and the purchase pixel is coming through. So I'm okay there. Let me show you another way to do this using Google Tag Manager. So I have a separate mini training for you on just setting up, again, just the real basics of Tag Manager, but assuming you have it all set up, this is how I would add the purchase event snippet using Google Tag Manager. So what I like about using Google Tag Manager is you don't have to log into the back end of your website. Before, as you just saw in that one example, I had to log into WordPress. If I was adding in the information manually in another landing page software like Convertri or Kartra or ClickFunnels, I'd have to log into there, find the confirmation page, and then add the little, purchase snippet that we just looked at and add it inside of there. With Tag Manager, once that's installed, you only have to use Tag Manager to insert code. I don't have to log into those sites anymore, fiddle around, figure out where all the settings are. I can just do it all from here and it gets done. And that's why I prefer using Google Tag Manager. It's free. And like I said, I've added a little bonus training on how to set something up. So here's an example one that I can use to show you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click New, and I'm going to add a new tag. So let's just come up with your own way of naming things, but I'm just going to call it Facebook purchase. What did we call it? Book clients, right? Purchase book clients. Okay. So under tag configuration, I'm just going to go down and click custom HTML. Google Tag Manager has a whole bunch of things that are pre-programmed in here for templates for you. I just use custom HTML. Keep it really simple. I'm going to go get that script the little code snippet, and paste it in here. So you can see it looks exactly the same as what we did. And I want it to fire in the top part of the page. So under advanced settings, I'm just going to click that. And under tag firing priority, I'm going to click 2. Now triggering, I do not want this to trigger for all of the page views. I only want it to trigger when somebody buys my book called clients. Okay, so I need to create a new trigger for this. I don't have one set up here. I'm going to click over here, this plus sign, and let's just call it book client purchase. Okay, and then over here under configuration, I'm going to go page view, and I'm going to click some page views. I'm going to click here and click page URL contains. And I'm just going to put here TY book clients, because I know the way that I've set up all of my pages that this is a unique phrase in the URL of that page that people land on when they purchase my book called Clients. And I'm just going to click save. And if I create any other thank you pages, I can always come back in here and add one. I'm just going to click a plus sign here and I can do page URL contains whatever else. If I was smart, what I would do is if I wanted to create several pages to test as a thank you page, I would just put TY book clients -1, TY book clients -2. That way I don't have to change anything because this rule here says, hey, look for any URL that has TY book clients. That's it. And call that a purchase. So I'm going to click save here. So I've got the code in here, I've got it firing in the header with the number 2, and I've got book clients purchase. You want to make sure that it's not firing on every page, right? Because then it's really going to mess up your data because you only want it to fire on the page people land on after they purchase. And then I'm going to click save. And then I'm going to click submit. It is not going to be pushed out live until you click submit. That's another thing I like about Tag Manager is it gives you this opportunity to actually submit something. And also you can revert back to, if you made a mistake, you can revert back to the previous container. So I'm going to click submit. You can even name the version, maybe put Facebook purchase, book clients. And then I'm just going to click publish and then see I can look at all the different versions if I name them, and then I'll know what I did each time I pressed publish. You can see down here the different versions. So I know, oh, okay, great. This is what I did. So I can, I can revert back to it, or whatever it is that I need to do. Right. So I think this is the easier way to do it because, like I said, it doesn't matter what software you're using. As long as you have Google Tag Manager installed, then you can use Google Tag Manager to install the scripts that you need for a purchase or a lead or add to cart or anything else that you want. And it's worked across many different types of software marketing stacks. So to recap, there were 3 different ways that we were setting up the conversion events. The first is using the event setup tool without using any code. But the downside of that is that you're stuck with that specific URL. And then also using the conversions API, and that's too involved to get into detail here, but you really, and it also depends on the software you're using and if it already has an integration. So this is the easiest way of doing it, but also the most complicated way of setting it up. And then from the website, which is kind of in the middle, still a little complicated, but once you do it once or twice, I think that it gets so much easier. The key is just having those little code snippets by your side so that you can just paste them in wherever you need to. And if you're doing it with Google Tag Manager, it's much, much easier. Finally, I just wanted to walk you through a custom conversion event. So these are the different ways you can create them here. And by the way, once they start to fire, you should see them show up here and you'll see that they're active. And I'll tell you if it's coming from the browser or the server. You can also create a custom conversion. In the past couple of months, I've actually been using the main way that I showed you, but you can create custom conversions as well. So let me show you how you create that. You just go create custom conversion and you can name it whatever you want. So let me put here purchase this fictitious book that I have. And I'm going to say website pixel, and you can, let's see, it's this pixel over here. So make sure you choose the correct pixel. And the conversion event, again, you can see here, I'm going to create it. You can create it from a lead or a purchase or a URL. This essentially does the same thing as the event setup tool. As you can see here, if you stick with all URL traffic, you can say URL contains, and then you can put in the whole website, landing page. Like you can put in the whole URL here if you want to, and you don't have to put in a conversion value if you don't want to. You can choose the category. So here I can choose, I want this to be a lead. So I'm going to select this. I can click create. And this does the exact same thing that the event setup tool does by choosing the URL. You can also create a custom conversion from a lead. And again, same thing, here it's going to ask for the URL. So all this really does is just shortcut it for you. So you still have to have the URL here. And again, like I said, you can put a conversion value in there. You can also delete custom conversions that you don't want. So I'm just going to click manage here, and I'm going to click over here and say delete. So I'm going to delete it. You can only have, I think it's 40 custom conversions. Let me just get rid of this one while we're at it. And the other thing too is with custom conversions, you can also map those to your domain too. So for whatever reason you need to have a custom conversion and you use it frequently, you can map it to your domain and you can optimize for it. I have found in my experience that optimizing just for the standard events works fine, but something you can definitely test, especially if you're having some problems with your ads and you think it might be a pixel issue. It's something that you can test, but I just don't use it very often. But I know some people do, and Facebook still has it over here for people to create. But I think you can, create what you need just using the other way that I just showed you, where I'm just doing it with the code and it's showing it up over here. So I know it feels maybe a bit complicated. I would pick one way of creating your custom conversions and just starting out with that way. I do recommend using Google Tag Manager just because even though it's not the easiest method, it is one that will serve you well in the future because, like I said, it gets way less complicated when you have a number of other tracking codes that you have to insert there. As things get more complex for you as you grow, it's also easier to manage all of your conversion events inside of Google Tag Manager. And like I said, you don't have to log into all the different software that you have. So long term, it really helps. And also if you bring somebody on to help you, or you hire somebody to run your ads, it's also very easy to give them, even read-only access if you want to Google Tag Manager, and they can help you as well. I call Plan B URL based is because if for whatever reason you're having problems, do that version where you're just doing it based on putting in the URL. Like I said, it has some limitations to it, but it definitely still works. Okay. So do whichever one feels the easiest to you, but I highly recommend using Google Tag Manager. It's just much more efficient.